Welcome back, everybody, to the League of Inches podcast. Myself, Joel, and Jesse along for the ride. It is a Tuesday night. You're getting this Wednesday morning. So that means one thing, Team List Tuesday. And a bit of a Supercoach chat as we go as well about some of the changes and how that impacts Supercoaches and what to look for and things like that. Probably a bit of a longer one tonight. We'll try and keep it within that hour mark, but I can't promise that there is a lot to talk about, a lot of changes, lots of ins, lots of outs, and a lot that has to do with Supercoach. A lot of key players that have been absolutely smashed here. And obviously, our trade show is tomorrow night. So we'll keep a lot of the trade talk to then. But we'll just try and make our way around things and say what needs to be said for today's episode. First up, obviously, the week that was another hard week. No Cleary for basically most of that game. And if you captained him, like myself, it was a horrible game. And then Hines didn't even make the team. So I pretty much had a round without a halfback. I managed to score 1,059. How I got over 1,000, I actually have no idea because my two-star backline players, Garrick and Asako, didn't even score well either. So how I've scraped through and ended up over 1,000, I'll go recheck the scores, thanks to, and actually drop mine because I don't think it's right. Ranking went down a little bit, unfortunately, 23,472. Jesse, the weekend that was, how was things for you?
It was a week to forget, wasn't it? It was just carnage again. We thought we got away with a few in a row there where there wasn't any major injuries, but yeah, round 10, sorry, what a shocker. What an absolute shocker. I scored more than you, surprisingly. It was 1,097. I didn't captain Cleary, thankfully. I was kind of right about my prediction in a way, but he got injured. I didn't expect him to do any good that game. I think I said that as well, and he obviously, hamstring gone again. So a horrible trade in, but you can't predict any of that. But yeah, like most, Cleary was out, Hines laid out, Tuivasa-Sheck not there. It was just shit. Yeah, Zarko, Garrick. Considering last week they got me 400 points,
Turbo,
to then
throw
get
that in.
him to get Turbo as well, Sean Johnson out. Like it's just ridiculous what we're going with. But we move forward.
And
See what this new week gives
just
us.
just peeling back, guys, as I keep talking about, my draft team continues to fly high. So
Yeah.
I'm just a drafter. I'm just a drafter now. That's all I care about. So I'll just let Jesse basically ramble on this episode because I've given up on Classic. I don't give a shit. It's the poor man's edition of Supercoach. Drafting is where it's at. Like the
Yeah.
people who are winning draft clearly know what they're talking about because they've made the right decisions from the start of the year. And that's myself. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love draft.
Totally.
I really, really love it. And I'm the draft king. So respect
Yeah.
me, please.
No,
Respect
you've
me,
I don't
please.
know how you keep scraping wins away too. It's ridiculous. I got my two draft leagues that I'm in, they were both victories as well this week. It was pretty good. But I did drop rankings in Classic. I dropped 822 spots, so it wasn't too bad. I'm ranked 6,999. So I stayed in the
Oh,
sixes.
beautiful.
Just
Beautiful.
so I'm holding on
Um,
barely.
I guess we rip the bandit off now and we get stuck into it. The Canberra Raiders, it's Magic Round, first of all.
Yeah.
Huge show coming up, guys. You are listening to this Wednesday morning. Make sure at 8:30 you're on the League of Inches, whether it's Facebook or YouTube. During the day, make sure you either subscribe, follow one of those so you get the notification. We're going to do a huge Magic Round special on Wednesday night for Magic Round. We're going to have hopefully most of the crew on, and we're just going to basically have a massive yarn, have a bit of fun, have a drink or two as well, and just see where the show takes us. There's not going to be much to talk about in terms of a set agenda. We'll talk with you guys in the crowd. We'll have a bit of a yarn amongst each other and just see it. There's obviously a couple of little big talking points we'll talk about, but yeah, we'll just have a really fun episode. Going to be a big one. So make sure you're on 8:30 tonight when you're listening to this. It's so confusing to say, but I got there in the end. So Friday night, Magic Round, the first game to kick us off. They get the nice fresh turf. Actually, it might not be too fresh. The women's game is the night before. The Raiders versus the Dogs. Raiders after the bye. Albert Hopewadi has dropped to 18th man because Jordan Rapana has returned from his knee injury. No changes anywhere else. Corey Horsburgh remaining out of the side due to a groin injury. For the Bulldogs, I tell you what, Jacob Kraz looked like he was Dunsky during that game on the weekend,
Yeah,
and then he came back and produced some
I don't know.
decent points
Don't
for
know
me.
how.
So he came into play for me. But for the Bulldogs, no changes at all. So this could be one of the easiest ones to speak. We speak about this round, Jesse. Take
Yeah,
it away.
there's not really too much to speak about. Rapana's back in, which is good to see. Revolving doors for that back line for the Raiders, but we kind of expected it with how many they've got. So um, yeah, stuck strong with everyone else. You expected Rapana to come back through, and then the forwards, as expected again. There's not too much else going. I don't know what Horsburgh has to do. I suppose his groin injury is keeping him out too, but yeah, I don't think we're going to see too much of him this year. But yeah, Raiders as they are, Dogs. Tracy's still there in the number one, which is nice for their side of things. Blake Taff, obviously out of favour now, which was bound to happen eventually. Um, and the other one too, Preston's still on the bench. I'm not too sure what the deal is there. They keep, persisting with Salmon, so I don't think it'll be too much longer. But again, who knows? Curran still hasn't got a start really in any form, so I think, yeah, interchange specialists. We're going to look at these boys as. But again, for the Dogs, they keep playing well. You can't change too much. Burton's very impressive these days. It's whether it's got a lot to do with Drew or not, you know, not taking as much of the reins there and just letting him do his thing. He's playing some good footy. But yeah, I reckon Doggies get up for this one.
Yeah. I'm with you. I don't understand. It's so hard to bag Serrato at the moment because the Dogs are improving. They're an improving team, improving squad, getting better as the games continue on. But Drew Hutchison and Jamin Salmon, how they continue to get picked in this side, I don't know because for mine there is clearly better options to be put in those positions to make them stronger. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure if there's something going on at training or not, but Preston should be there, and that would make the edges both sides of the ruck even better.
Mm,
And then for mine, it should be Toby Sexton in at halfback. Even Blake Taff, I'd try over Drew Hutchison. I just feel like it just breaks down a lot, and he's a bit slow for the modern day halfback role,
yeah.
Drew Hutchinson. So
Yeah. It
yeah, I don't
doesn't
know
really
what's
seem like
happening.
doesn't seem like he's got many ideas. You know what I mean? Like when he gets
No.
the ball and they need something to happen, it's just like it's not him. He's not the answer. But yeah, however they keep running,
And the thing
they
is,
definitely are improving.
yeah, obviously the left edge of Burton kick out is working very well. There's no denying that. But the good teams are going to click onto this very soon. And what do they got a fallback option of? They don't really have one at the moment. So it's just going to be
No.
interesting what happens.
Mm.
Oh, bless
Well,
me. Oh,
there you go. Bless you, mate. No, well, that's it's a very. I suppose as an opening game to Magic Round, I don't particularly want to be watching the Raiders versus the Dogs, but it's the hand that we've been given. So we'll see. What's
yeah, I
the
might
next
get there
one?
late. The next one up, Manly versus the Brisbane Broncos. Obviously, this has just become the tradition. I feel like this should just be the opening game. Like I know it's the 6 o'clock time slot that would mean it falls on, but just have it. Like this is an exciting game generally. It'll get
Yeah,
the crowd up. It'll just be the cornerstone of the like this is Magic Round. Let's have a party. Let's watch some
I think so.
attacking footy. This is what we're going to get here because speedster Tolu Kula has been named to take Tom Trebojevich's position on the at a fullback. So big things for the Garrick owners as well. That means he does keep his centre position, not going back to fullback. May hurt a little bit. It would have been nice to see some Garrick points at fullback where he does score quite decently, but Cooler is a different beast. Probably a very big pod at the moment. I don't think many teams would actually have Cooler in their team for now, but we've seen late last year where he did start to score quite well in that fullback position. That means Raymond Vega is back onto the wing. I know Manly fans love that. And Tommy Talea shifting to the centres. A big in as well. Hamole Olakawatu returns from his suspension, which means Corey Adele shifts to the reserves. That means Ben Trbojevic stays in that starting side edge spot as well. So great for someone like me who actually had to end up holding Ben Trbojevic. I was pretty much forced into it with just cleaning up so much other shit week to week.
Yeah.
And now it's not too bad. For the Broncos, Jock Madden comes back from a pec injury. I feel like this is early. He
Mm,
replaces Josh Rogers, who I didn't think had a bad game on the weekend, but Madden is back and Billy Walters is out with a wrist injury, which means Tyson Smoothie will wear the number 9 with Blake Moiser earning a bench spot.
yep.
Jesse?
So for Manly, obviously the biggest, talking point really is Kohler getting the fullback spot. I was very hopeful it was going to be Garrick for my Supercoach side, but in a way, it was pretty wishful. I kind of expected Kohler, but I really wanted it to be Garrick. We saw the last two games of the season last year. He brained it. He was unbelievable. But again, it's very tricky to kind of go off that. Like, obviously, we know what his game is. He's a speedster. He's a little weapon. But the last two games of the year were against the Bulldogs and the Tigers. Last season, that was shocking. And by the last two rounds, they'd properly checked out, signed off. They weren't anything special. So I don't know. It's kind of tricky to read into that, but at least he's got it in his locker. Um, Whether or not against the Broncos at Magic Round is kind of the matchup you want to be playing him for when you look at the last two for the end of last season. I don't think we're going to see the same game out of him. But I'm happy to be proven wrong. So, but yeah, outside of that, what else have we got going on? It's pretty much as it was, really, wasn't it? Like, um,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find something. Olakau'atu is a big, big one to come back through, but it was always expected this week, which is nice. Yeah, Manly doing Manly things, just going to be turboless again, which is a yearly thing for them. I think they pretty much adapt their game to try and work around not having him. And when you do have him, it's just a bonus. But we'll just have to see which side they favour. Obviously, they're very right side dominant anyway. Now Olakau'atu's back. I still feel like Garrick will get his points. And it'll kind of just be Kohler
Yeah.
on the left, just trying to do his thing and sweep around. But for the Broncos, Reece Walsh, Magic Round, it kind of has his name in headlights, doesn't it? It's a screaming captain option for me this week. It's
Early.
I just can't. Yeah, early. I hate doing an early captain, but I don't know, something about it's just talking to me. Jock Madden comes back in, which is nice. You were right about um, what's his name from last week,
Josh
uh,
Rogers.
Josh Rogers. Yeah, he actually did quite well. His kicking game was good, but obviously Jock Madden. I don't think it was a serious pec injury at all. I think it was more like a strain, kind of like what SJ's got. Um, so maybe 2 weeks is enough, but as far as the halfback crisis goes for teams, I don't mind Jock Madden, to be honest. If you're trying to cash down, get someone dual, someone quite cheap, zero break even, like it's probably worth a shout. The team outside of that looks pretty much as you would expect as well. So, um, yeah, be a good game for the Magic Round. Should be the opener, to be
Will be.
fair.
I agree. Saturday game, the first one, 3 p.m. Gold Coast Titans versus the Newcastle Knights. For the Titans, pretty chaotic here, so please bear with me, guys. It's almost like a little novel I've got to get through. Um, Massive week, obviously. Both AJ Brinson and Kieran Foran are both injured, groin and a hamstring, respectively. Sam Verrills and Chris Randall will take their place in the halves. So first and second choice hookers move into the halves. This is Tessie at
What?
his best. This is dead set. The mad scientist just doing mad scientist things.
Yeah,
Aaron Clark
wild.
named at hooker. Um, Alofia Khan Piera and Aaron Shoup also replace Harley Smith Shields and Philip Sami, both who were injured pec and hamstring injuries. Keenan Palacia joins the bench alongside Joe Stimson. For the Newcastle Knights, take a breath, take a breath. Jack Cogger replaces Tyson Gamble, who is out with that foot injury and seems like he'll be out for an extended period of time as well. So it looks like it's going to be that Cogger versus N Hastings halves pairing for at least the foreseeable future. Uh, David Armstrong has been named despite that head knock. So good things for us super coaches that do own him. I don't mind this sort of matchup against the Titans without Foran and Brimson. Jacob Saifiti returns from a leg injury and replaces his brother, who was handed a suspension for a high tackle. Jesse, bit to go through with this matchup. I don't know if much is
Far
actually
out.
Supercoach relevant, but a lot happening.
Yeah, it's a shocker. What happened to the Titans? Hey, when things couldn't get worse, they lose what, four more players. Naming hookers in the halves, it's just yeah, it's struggle street now. Hey, um,
Jesse loves his hookers.
yeah, I guess he's playing three of them. Man, look, I don't know if there's really too much to touch on. The team's cooked unbelievably, and it's just unfair
I
too. It's just horrible luck. Can't do
I got
much
a
else,
question
you
for
know.
you.
Yeah.
Supercoach related question regarding the Titans because of the changes, and clearly there's going to be a lack of direction. It's fair to say because even Keanu Keeney at fullback is very young, still untried, untested in a lot of aspects to his game. He's not going to be able to step up and lead this team around like if it was AJ Brimson at fullback.
Mhm.
Does this put you off getting someone like Dave Feeder in? Because for mine, I look at it and I think, yes, he can do a few things individual brilliance, but he also does rely on a bit of foreign work and to a certain degree, maybe Brimson this year as well to generate a little bit of space. I just don't think Verrills and Randall can generate the space that those two can.
Well, they obviously, yeah, like no one's going to be able to do in that side what Foreign and Brimson can do. Like they're the boys. Again, Fafita is a wrecking ball. So it almost seems to me with this team that they've got, they're going to be very reliant on him to pull it out of his ass most of the time. So very much like you would expect out of Latrell. You know what I mean? They kind of just give it to him and hope he can do something magical when they really don't have any other options. I feel like Titans are going to kind of be doing the same thing with Fafita there. Because again, the forward pack isn't bad. Like they haven't really been as decimated as the rest of the side. So I still feel like they'll be able to do what they can do. They've been defending really well the last couple of weeks, and they've actually been making it quite hard for teams to get through them. But um, yeah, like I don't see him going very far with the side they've got at the moment. But you know, if they're resilient enough, you know, we've seen decimated sides put up a fight. I think it's going to be a very forward heavy game. To be honest, I don't think Fafita's points can really be affected. I think he's just that good. He'll make things happen anyway. Like dummy half tries with him are ridiculous. So he'll just burrow in and just knock about 5, 10 people down each time he gets the ball. So I don't think that's going to change, even if you should change the halves around. All they're going to do is just give it to him sooner, maybe. But you'd have to think it's going to affect most of the team.
You're
Um,
100% right with that forward play as well. Like even their bench is basically just full of forwards. It's ridiculous. Like it's clear as day. They're literally going there to bash the shit out of Newcastle and say, keep up with us if you can, and if you can get over us, use your backs. But good luck.
yeah, but the thing is, like, obviously Newcastle themselves this week have been pretty torn apart, but they've named a full strength side.
Mm.
I'm expecting some pretty big changes, to be honest. I don't know if it's mind games for them or not, but like I don't expect to see Gagai or Frizzell or Best or any of these guys that were meant to be earmarked down to be injured. So if there is a round to rest them, or if there is injury concern, I think you can kind of get away with it this week. I don't really think you'd be risking too many of them. But if they do decide to do that wing attack, Marzu looks incredible. Even David Armstrong, he's been really impressive. I'm not too sure what it means for the reserve scene. Fletcher Sharp named in there this week, but
Yeah, I was
if
looking at that.
that's something to have a look forward to in the next couple of weeks. But he's been pretty good. He could have had a try assist had it not been bombed. He could have probably gone himself and got another try. So he's done a lot in mainly last week in shit conditions too. So hasn't had a good start. But yeah, Pierce Paul's back on the bench. I would be surprised to not see him start if Frizzell does get the name again. I'm not too sure, but 40 minutes last week, it's not very nice for anyone owning him. But yeah, it's very hard to look at this team and think this is the side that's going to run out, to be fair. Still feel like they'll
Yeah,
do a number on the Titans.
yeah, no, I do agree. There, next game up, Cronulla Sharks versus the Sydney Roosters. So keen for this one, blockbuster top four clash. Um, for the Sharkies, Nico Hines has been named despite that calf niggle. Still hearing things that he hasn't been training well or if hardly training so far this week. Not really surprised it's only Tuesday. They've probably only done one session as a team anyway after traveling and coming back from Melbourne. Um, just keep an eye on it because it literally would not shock me if he is not named. Oh, he gets dropped right at the
Yeah.
last minute because there is a name on the extended bench, which is Braden Trindle. Now, there was an article today about how this is working. There's some sort of catch in this situation where he actually can play now. Not sure what it is. I haven't had time. I've just been flat out today to check what is going on there, but he is on the extended bench. So just be careful there. And it could either impact Nico Hines or it could impact Daniel Atkinson because I have a feeling if he's there to play, his name, he's fit, he will be playing on the weekend. So just keep an eye out for that one. Um, Apart from that, though, pretty much back to usual. Cam McInnes moves back to lock. Blake Brayley goes to the hooker position as well. For the Roosters, Joey Manu's out. He suffered a concussion late in last game and has been, I think he's got that concussion protocol, so
Yeah.
out for 11 days. And Pauga stepping in to replace him. Brandon Smith returns from a calf issue as well to start at hooker, which means Connor Watson goes to the bench and Sandon Smith out of the team. Sharky's first up, Jesse. Any sort of Supercoach relevant points?
Oh, half the side, I suppose, when you talk about Nico. It's tricky. It's really hard to sort of work out. It kind of caught us all off guard last week because it was such a late game. But look, Trindle being there, you would expect him to come in for one of the two. I don't know which one it's going to be. Nico hasn't trained. To be fair, does he need to? Like realistically, don't know. But Daniel Atkinson did really well, in his absence. So we'll see. It'll be one of them that makes way. I just hope it, doesn't affect Nico's points like it did in the first, few rounds of the year. It does make other players relevant more so, Mulatalo, Kylero, that kind of thing, with a 5'8" that likes going that way. But if it's all Nico again, I'd be looking at the right hand side, Britton Nakora. Again, I wouldn't probably look at anyone against the Roosters right now, but look, man, that side's actually been so consistent too. They've had very few major injuries, and when they have, they've been able to make it work. They've very very resilient side this season. They look quite good for it. Last week was a really good showing for them. But yeah, like have to just see Roosters without Manu again. That side is buzzing. So don't know if they'll be able to put it over them this week, but for the Roosters, just Joey Manu out. It's a late out too. It was very unfortunate. It happened right at the end of the game. Just the protocol stood him down. So bit of a shame on that side. But the side goes back to it was Brandon Smith is named again. To be fair, I prefer Watson. Um, but I suppose it's his position, isn't it? You got to let him have it. Um, Connor Watson on the bench, Butcher, Lenu, Terrell May. So not a bad bench rotation for forward minutes. I think they get their due. I'm pretty sure it looks like they've kind of worked the minutes out too. It's seeing how they kind of rotated through last week. Just looking at the points scored and how many minutes each one played. I think that's pretty fair. Like they obviously did a number last week, but I think we kind of get into the routine now. You can kind of work out who's going to play where and for how long. So finally started to see consistency with them. Um, yeah,
So,
that's gone.
question for you. Obviously, a
Mm.
lot of people will probably be looking to jump on Dom Young this week. We'll talk about trades and stuff next week, tomorrow. Sorry. The other one that might be appealing to a lot of people is Sam Walker at the moment with the injuries and the unknown for Nico Hines and coming into Origin as well. Both of those, in your opinion, still look as appealing as they do on surface value, or not as appealing once you sit down and have a look at some things?
Um, well, last week Dom Young looked way more appealing than he does this week. But I still don't think it's too late to get on. Again, no Manu on that side does kind of, I wouldn't say kind of turns me off a little bit. He's still got a minus 31 break even. It's either this week or nothing. But very heavily traded in both of them. And to be fair, like it's the easiest trade out, Cleary, Sheck, Walker, Young, straight swaps, with money in the bank. But I don't know. It's a hard one to think about too, because again, I'd imagine that most people would have like a Terrell May, Angus Crichton. Maybe Manu already, or at some level, a couple of Roosters players, and then you get these
Teddy.
two guys in. Yeah, there's another one too. So there's a handful that you could already have. Um, and then obviously these two guys plug some pretty good holes with, half decent fixtures and they're great form. But then you look at round 14, a lot of people aren't going to back up, and the team that are on the bye are the Roosters. So you could find yourself in a really bad position having no one to play. If you already have some Origin guys and you're relying on others, if you've got 5 Roosters players going into that week, you're going to be pretty stuck. So, like, I've already got May and Crichton, like most people will have. I don't know. I don't know if I want to be getting 2 more, as good as they are going. Um, I think, like, as with the half situation at the moment, Sam Walker does look amazing for it. He's got a 78 break even. I wouldn't really be looking too much at break evens for these guys right now with the way that things are. Um, he's obviously got the biggest upside and the highest ceiling out of all the available playing halves that are left that aren't going to Origin. So I wouldn't be jumping on like a Cherry Evans with the fixtures the next 3-4 weeks that they've got. Matt Burton's appealing to me as well, but I don't know what's happening on that side. And outside of that, there's just nothing left. Like, there's no one left. So for that reason, yeah, I would say Sam Walker is, the hottest half right now to look at. Dom Young, I feel like there's a bit more depth in that center position. If you didn't want to, like, if you wanted to just let him fade and let that one go, it
And
wasn't a
and so
sorry.
sort of what you're talking about is right as well, because round 14 comes and we're talking about people rested. Nathan Cleary is clearly gone. So if you're trading in Sam Walker, it's Nathan Cleary to Sam Walker clearly. Then you probably got Nico Hines in your team as well. Most likely, I would say your current halves. There is a very, very real possibility you won't have a halfback in round 14. Now, whether that affects you or not, you might say, I didn't really have a halfback this weekend and I scored an 1100 or a 1200 or something and I got through it. Like that, that's fair enough. But just be prepared for that, because that's a very, very high possibility, I think, at the moment, because there's no way in the world if Nico plays Origin, he will not be backing up, especially while he has the niggles that he has at the moment. There's zero chance that Cronulla will push him or Coach Fitzgibbon will push him to do that. So
Yeah,
just
it's just a
stay with caution.
pretty much. Yeah, it's a hard one too. Like Nico and Cleary owners are going to have to make a decision in round 13, 14. Do you trade both of them out? Like, are they worth holding? There's a good chance between providing Nico gets named and he's back from this injury, he plays 2 rounds in 7 weeks, maybe, with the amount of games that they have to back up to. So the problem is that there's just not
And
any
with
other
Trindle
viable
now
option.
back in the picture as well, he's not like there's no urgency to have him go, oh no, we need Nico in the team. Like Trindle and Atkinson will be fine and do a job.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if they can both get going together, they might not be able to afford resting Nico for a week or two just to make sure he lasts the course. But man, the stocks are so low right now that it's if you've got a viable half option, you can kind of get around them. I'm kind of hoping that Burton doesn't get named for the Blues, and there's an out straight away that has a really good buy schedule. So I suppose we'll find out in a couple of weeks' time what happens. But yeah, as it stands, it's kind of Walker or just Nuff cheapy, or maybe don't even
Yeah.
trade Cleary this week. You know, see what happens next week.
Well, don't give too much away. They won't need to listen tomorrow night to the Subby show, but that is definitely a very, very real possibility for me at the moment with some other hit going on in my team, which continually happens week
Yeah,
after week. It's next game for the Saturday night, the last game. There'll be honestly the way Magic Crowd goes. I'll be surprised if most of this crowd can actually watch and see this game happening. There'll be beer snakes. There'll be who knows. There'll be puking all on the sides of the seats. Who knows what will be? It'll be just ridiculous at this time of the night. But the South Sydney Rabbitohs up against the Cowboys, it could be a snore fest of a game as well. So it could just be a massive party atmosphere. For the Bunnies, Alex Johnston and Jacob Gagai returned from injuries and slot back into the wing spots. Thompson shifting to the centres, Michael Cheekham dropping out of the side. The only other change, Tane Milne returns from suspension and replaces Matthew French on the bench. I don't know what Matane Milne has done. How he continued to be this like mainstay in this team is beyond me. Because every time I watch them play, he does something stupid and
Yeah.
looks to me like another Mike Acevo who just doesn't understand half these rules in this game still. Just ridiculous, but we'll get to that in one sec. The Cowboys, Murray Tuolungi is back. Um, just basically a straight swap with Semi Valame.
Yep.
Jordan McLean also returns from a hamstring injury and will start in the pack, pushing Tom McKaylee to the bench. Harrison Edwards out of the 17. So first up, mentioned it to the Bunnies. Again, my boy that I traded in, Tallis Duncan, is on the bench. So I don't know what this guy needs to do to get a crack. But anyway,
Mm.
any Supercoach relevant news for this one? Obviously, Jacob Gagai, maybe for those who kept him. He's
Yeah.
back.
I suppose it's a very nice sight to see. Green tick for all the Gagai owners still out there. Finally going to get his price rise after 11 rounds. So that was a slow burn for 60, 70K. Insane. Was it worth it? I don't know. At least it's coming now. You can do something with it. Johnson's back, which is nice. He's always good to have in your team. Always bags a shitload of tries. So I have to see. Look, there's two things these teams can't do. It's defend and at the moment attack. So something's got to give. Something's got to give somewhere. I don't know.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well done, mate.
Yeah,
That's your best.
is it? Oh,
That's your best.
there you go. It's a low bar.
It's the
Um,
nicest way possible of saying they're basically just rubbish, shithouse,
yeah.
and a wooden
Look,
spoon bound for 2024.
well, potentially, you never know. Like the rabbits certainly are. At least things are getting in the right direction a bit for them. Maybe, obviously, they're not winning games, but they're getting some players back. I don't know what they're going to be doing with Tane Milne on the bench, though. Don't know what he's going to come in and do, whether he plays at all. I think they're expecting
Sin
someone
bin,
to go down injured.
send
Yeah,
off.
they got just a send off. Just kamikaze out there. Go and knock Drinkwater out, get sent off.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the Cows, straight
And
swap.
then Cowboys.
He's back in. He's a great add in too. I don't think Bellarmé had a very good game last week, so probably
Oh,
nice to see Murray come back through. He's a bit of a gun this year. He's killing it. So there's one straight for your Maroon side as well. What a shame.
yep.
Yeah, back to the way they should be going. Unfortunately, they're not doing much with it. They looks like such a great attacking outlet. This kind of has to be the week that they reignite the spark too, because rabbits are woeful. Um, expect 50 plus points would be
Ooh.
nice. Yeah, I think it's going
Ooh.
to be just try fest this game. I don't think defending's going to turn up
I
if
thought you
they ever.
meant Cowboys put 50. You mean just the game overall will have 50 plus points?
Yeah, and it won't be many from the
Yeah.
rabbits. That's for sure.
Depends if Latrell wants to turn up and play a bit of footy.
You know what? He might
We
turn
will
up in the
see.
last 3 minutes and get some junk time points there. That's all he ever
Yeah.
seems
Get
to do.
100. Just keep getting 100 somehow.
Yeah, miracles.
Um, Next one up, the Sunday game, the New Zealand Warriors versus the Penrith Panthers. Now, a few weeks ago, I was so pumped for this game. I was like, I can't wait to get there early on the Sunday, get my seats, sit down, enjoy a really good game of football before I watch my team get absolutely pantsed by the Melbourne Storm. And then the Warriors have just not been able to produce. Nathan Cleary's gone down, but we know Penrith still just roll on. But for the Warriors, there is a mountain of changes here, guys. So once again, bear with me while I read you a short novel. The Warriors halves crisis has copped a serious blow with superstar number 7 Sean Johnson out due to that pec injury, which I don't think we've actually had any confirmation about how long that will be yet. Tamari Martin will shift to fullback with Chance Nickel Clockstad making a surprise move to 5'8". That means Tane Tuapiki will start at fullback. Rocco Berry has suffered a fractured hand as well and is replacing the centres by Ali Leotao. I'm sorry about the pronunciation. Marcelo Montoya has been recalled on the wing at the expense of Edward Cossi. And Wade Egan has been named to start after dropping back to the bench last week. Freddie Lussick is ruled out due to concussion protocols. Jacob Laban is the new face on the bench. Breathe now.
Whoa.
For the Penrith Panthers, Jerome Lua shifts to halfback with Nathan Cleary obviously out and no Snyder, who is out injured as well. Jack Cole named at 5'8". We get to watch Jack Cole once again. There's huge raps on this kid, if no one knows by now, but he has a very bright future ahead of him, Jack Cole. And Tungo returns from suspension, which means Alamote makes way in the centres. That's about it with Jane Laurie. Joins the bench, and Matt Eisenhuth, who replaces Liam Henry, sorry, who's a head knock as well. So the Warriors, they just can't get it right. Happy I got off DWZ when I did, because I don't see him doing anything now with that back line either. And there's just the halves and everything.
Yeah, it's a bit messy, isn't it?
Anything to talk about?
I don't really know. I was kind of surprised to not see Chanel Harris-Tavita named. I don't know where he is. Maybe taking another
Must
gap
be
year.
injured.
You reckon?
He has to be injured.
Yeah, he surely has to be. Either way, Sean's at 5'8". I suppose we're going to see something happen here. I don't know how long it lasts, obviously. I've seen, I don't know if it's confirmed official yet or not, but I've seen it's only looking like a couple weeks, maybe 2 weeks for SJ. But I'd wait for something proper to come from that. Topiki was really impressive when he played in the beginning of the year. I was very happy having him, and it was good seeing him out there. He's a little, he's a young, small fella out there too, but bloody hell, he can get around. So it is good to see him back in the side. I was wondering if we ever would. I can't imagine anyone's held him at this point, but either way, he wasn't too dear, and we all kind of got off. So maybe mid 300s or something around there. So it's not a bad pickup. Again, I don't know how long it'll last, so probably wouldn't do it again. But yeah, nice to watch him play. Man, that backline's copped a flogging this week. Thankfully, the forwards haven't. The forwards look as consistent and rock solid as ever, which is nice. But yeah, it's not been a good month for the Warriors, and I don't know if they're going to have a very good game this week against the Panthers. Look, they've played a lot of the season without Cleary. I don't think it's going to bother them too much. I think we're just going to see more of the same. Dylan Edwards killing it. The rest of the team just doing their job as usual. But yeah, a lot of the weight's on Dylan Edwards now. I'm very surprised. Blues fullback. What are your thoughts about Edwards getting picked up now that Cleary's out?
Look, I know what there is an argument at the moment about that does impact Dylan Edwards getting chosen. My counter to that is I actually feel like Dylan Edwards has been better when Cleary hasn't been playing this year. So
yeah,
I just think Dylan Edwards, and I have so much respect for James Tedesco. I think he'll go down as arguably the best fullback to play for New South Wales. He has changed the game for modern day fullbacks, no doubt about that. And he's just a warrior. He deserves all the accolades he gets. But I just think Dylan Edwards, his form is just too hard to ignore now. And he actually isn't young. Like everyone, we think like he's just one of these young guys. He's 28 years old, so he
28.
hasn't got like much longer to go in terms of his career. Like he's in his prime, so he'd probably have like maybe a 3 to 4 year maximum at that Origin level career now left in front of him. It's either now or never for Dylan Edwards, because if he's not picked this year, I think he'll start to get to the age where they'll go, oh, no, we'll go for a younger guy. The Queenslanders have Reece Walsh. We need to sort of counter that and get one of these youngsters in. It's pretty much now or never for Dylan Edwards. The fact that he could literally go his career and not play the number one for New South Wales with his form the last couple of years seems crazy. I'm going to put him in. I don't know. I know you're a Roosters fan. I know you have a massive soft spot for James Tedesco, but I have to put Dylan Edwards in. I have to reward it. I have to reward form. There's a changing of the guard that we're hearing about simply for that reason, and the form that he's in, Dylan Edwards is in. What about you?
I'd have to agree with you too. I think, yeah, it's so hard to look past. He's a standout this year. Like, he's by far and away the best fullback in the comp right now. And a lot of the weight has been put on him because of the lack of Nathan Cleary in the side, and it's pushed his game to a new level. I don't think he would have been able to do it with Cleary in the side, to be fair. So I think it's kind of benefited him to just show what he's really got in his locker, but he definitely has it. and I think it's the perfect stage for him. I think he can kill it for the Blues, and I hope he is named. I really do, but again, it won't surprise me to see Tedesco captain number one, just for that, consistency, just to go to something that they know. But Madge is a new coach, like he could come out there and shift things up. Like we've seen the same thing from the Blues last few years, and it hasn't looked good. So yeah, it can honestly go one of either way, and neither will surprise me. I'll be very happy to see Dylan Edwards named at fullback. At the same time, if I see Tedesco there, I'll be like, sweet, he's been really good this year too, so I can't knock that either. But yeah, if
I'm
he
glad you
continues
made
the way,
that point.
what's that?
But James Esco has actually been quite good this year. I know a
Yeah,
lot of people just have this about they sting in their head now because of how he played majority of last year, but that was last year. He's actually come back very good player again this year, and
yeah.
being one of the Roosters' best consistently. I actually for a super coach side of things. Um, I wish I could know because the Penrith Panthers have a really good run at the moment. They don't get impacted with this first bye. And if I was to know Dylan Edwards wasn't
No.
getting picked and would be part of this week in, week out, their next 5 games is very, very tempting for Dylan Edwards. And I'd be all over a downgrade from Nathan Cleary to someone and just straight swap Turbo into Dylan Edwards. But I'm just that sure of the fact that he gets picked for Origin. He deserves it. It's the only reason I'm not making that trade. But geez, Dylan Edwards looks so tempting.
Given the opportunity to trade a fullback, because I haven't really had one like you've got with Turbo at the moment, I'd do it. I'd go
Mm.
straight to Edwards. Honestly, I pay up. I don't like any of them really at the moment. Same thing as halfbacks. I don't like any of them. I look at the sides and I look at the depth and quality of there, and I'm like, well, either they're all injured or that's it. They're all going to play Origin, and if Edwards does play Origin, I'd be nearly convinced that he backs up too. The guy's got 6 lungs,
Mm.
so I wouldn't worry about it. Like that's
And if
fair.
he
Like how
doesn't, I've
much?
got Scott Drinkwater as my reserve, so I do have
Yeah,
coverage for that week.
you know what he can do without Cleary. We know Cleary's gone 8 to 10 weeks, probably longer. Hopefully not if anything reoccurs. That's long enough, man. That's long enough for me to get, you know what,
Yeah.
Dylan Edwards, just get it in. If he gets 700 points in the next 8 weeks, you'll want to be a part of that. So, because he has been, he's been doing hundreds almost every week at the moment. So, yeah, I'm not in a position to trade a fullback, unfortunately. I've got two, good fullbacks that I'm decent enough happy with. But if one of them went down, honestly, I would be so tempted. So, you got that there. Don't let it fool you. Don't let it scare you away, even with Origin, I reckon.
No, I won't.
There's a few of them that are bottoming out too that are quite cheap. Isaac Tungo's in the mid 500s now. Brian Toto had a good bounce back game, so his price drops kind of halted a little bit. But yeah, Tungo, the price that he's at the moment, I don't know. Again, without Cleary, hasn't really done much without him on that side, and I don't think Luai likes going very far out. I think he likes to bounce around and stay back in the middle. So might not help him at all still to go with, but something to look forward to. Let him get a good game in and halt the drop because he's plummeting as it is. Um, Hurts to River a little too. So yeah, we'll see how the halves go. We'll see which direction they go. I'd never count Penrith out regardless. But yeah, good looking side regardless.
Move on to the next game. But quick shout out, Lukey Gardner. Lukey Gardner
Yeah, there's one.
is
Forgot about him.
just doing some things at the moment. It's and the king of draft. I have traded him in and got him into my team just because he's been going so well. So I sneakily got that in, and I think he got 100 on the weekend. I think he's
Yeah,
got
you
like
got
back to back
two
hundreds
back
or
to
something. It's
backs.
just
Yeah,
good on you,
I don't,
Lukey. I'll shout you
I
a
don't.
beer on the weekend. No doubt about that. Next
Is
game,
it sustainable?
really can't wait to talk about this one. Melbourne Storm versus the Parramatta Eels. It's the second last game of Magic Round, and who knows, by this one, I might just knock myself out. For the Melbourne Storm, Xavier Coates is back. Timely return to put 6 on Marcus Evo. Can't wait for that. Cameron Munster moving back into his 6th jersey with Tyron Wishart named at halfback. Harry Grant, he fought tonight and he actually got it off. He just That nothing to pay, no fine, no whatsoever. Harry Grant is all good to play for the Eels. Coach Brad Arthur, absolute flop, has dropped Ethan Sanders. Who knows why? Just basically because he has no idea. He's just become a massive. I don't know. I can't say too much because I'll blow up. I'm not going to do it. Dejan Arce is in at 5'8", so Dylan Brown stays at halfback, and Bryce Cartwright returns from a rib complaint, but he's only on the bench. And that replaces Brendan Hand, so Lussick goes back to an 80-minute piece of lump, basically, doing absolutely nothing out there. You can talk about this one, please, Jesse.
I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts all the time when it comes to the Eels. I just want to see where you're up to. Look, good to see Grant got off that ridiculous sin binning. I wonder if there's going to be an appeal there to reimburse him for Supercoach points. Because
Surely.
yeah, it was a shocker and it was for nothing. So yeah, what a terrible,
Oh,
terrible call. I'm glad he didn't even get fined too. They've got to set something with that. You know, go back and look at it again and just say, what are you doing? Um, as far as it runs, Faloga had a quiet game. It was kind of disjointed in a way. It was sort of broken up, and they didn't really seem like they were going to get there. So, had a couple of runs, but again, I still back his quality to buy in, and it would be this week too. But again, it's not like you're getting him in for any break even massive price rises at all. You're just getting him in at his price. It hasn't changed yet. So have a look real quick. Yeah, break even's 30. So yeah, you could do anything to the Eels as well. It could be 150, which would be great. So there's one to consider. Um, Xavier Coates. You mentioned that Cameron Munster got the 6 back. I don't think he actually was named at half last week. I'm pretty sure he was the 5'8".
nah, he was named. He had the 7 on, but
Did he
then
actually?
yeah, he
I
was
thought he
named
was
last
named.
week's team list as the 7. But
Yeah,
I
right.
think I noticed what you're noticing because when the game was playing, and I was going to say something about this, he was playing in the 6.
Of course. Yeah, he was wearing the 6, wasn't
He
he?
had the 6 jersey on, but he was named last week. If we would go back and watch this, or go back and
Go back and
see
have a
last
look at the
week's
team
team
list last
list,
week. He was named as a 5'8". I saw all
he
reports saying that he's the half, and then I looked at team list and he was in the 6 because I was like, oh, mad, money in the 7. I'll take the jewel, but it wasn't to be. He was named at 5'8", and now he's still named at 5'8". So either way, it's regardless. Tyron Wishart, performance and a half. That kid absolutely brained it. So um, obviously Hughes is still out, so Wishart's not going to go anywhere for a week, but um, great option. Great fallback too. He's such a reliable player for him. He can play anywhere they want him to. It's really good to see it. But the side looks good. The side looks as they usually do, and I expect them to do what they usually do to the Eels, who don't look anything like they do any week because they chop and change all the fucking time. Brad the Tinkerer, they're going to call him for no reason. The only
piece
thing
of
that I
shit.
am happy about is Talangi's still the fullback. So great to see. He had a performance and a half as well. Could have had more, had a few errors, but again, it was just teething stuff just from a young fullback. But yeah, you can see he didn't put his head down. He was trying everything he could. It was awesome.
Loved
Not
having
much to speak
Blaze
about.
on my reserves and
Oh
not
yeah,
scoring a
especially
point.
looking at 94 points after losing, you know, Hines and the like everywhere else. Cleary going down, staring at 94. It's horrible.
And then watch me play him this week, and he'll get like a 10.
Yeah, it's not a good play this week, but yeah, like I didn't think it was a good play last week. So
No, I think
um,
far longer is a massive play this week, and I've toyed with the idea of actually. No, we're not going there. I'll talk about my trades tomorrow night. Not going there, but
no, not even
I'll
gonna
just say that.
humorous little teaser, little salt and
Little
peps.
teaser, but I'm definitely tempted the move of downgrading Turbo straight down to Fa'alongo while Pappy's out for a number of weeks. But there's just a few things to look at there because obviously that means he's not there for the round 13 buy, which hurts a little bit. Frees up a hell of a lot of cash as well, though. And I think he'll
Yeah,
score very, very good this week and score well next week against the Manly Sea Eagles. So
yeah.
see what
I
happens.
I really like Dylan Brown's output with Darren Arcee in the side. He always seems to score really well. I think they complement each other quite well too. So it's not a bad play in general. I don't think Arcee would have been dropped had it not been for the HIA that he got. When he did have that one game, I think who was it? The Raiders they played, or
Yeah, when we got smashed. Yep.
yep, yeah.
I
So
can't remember because we get smashed every week at the moment. It's
you've been
just
smashed every week, so it doesn't narrow it down.
just
But
molds in.
it just puts Dylan Brown a bit further up the ranks for us. So he's been pretty good, man. As bad as the side has been, you can tell he's trying. So it's very hard to look at the rest of anyone. There's so many players that I really like too that have come into really nice prices. And to be fair, I'm not even looking at them. Ryan Madison's one. You know, obviously I'd want 80 minutes out of him. It seems to be 60 and some middle rotation, but man, he's like 440k. If you can ever say Ryan Madison's that cheap, you jump on it. But it's just not there for him, and it's just not clicking. So I'm happy to just breeze past the rest of this side. Please, Blaze Talungi and Dylan Brown, hold down the fort, please.
Yeah. Yep. Let's move on from the Eels because I love not talking about them. Last game of Magic Round. I said Saturday night. I don't know what that was bad. I don't know what's going to happen in this one. The West Tigers versus the Dolphins for the Tigers.
Oh,
Stafford Toa out due to hamstring injury. Brent Naden replaces him in the centre, so they get another week of Brent Naden. Unlucky for you, West Tigers fans. Solomon Alamalo rejoining the back line on the wing. John Bateman, this is a big injury, pec injury, replaced in the starting second row by Alex Seyfarth. Isaiah Papali'i is out due to a suspension. That's a big loss as well. That is actually huge. He was good on the
yeah,
weekend. Alex Twell named at lock. Kapoa is the new face on the bench, as is Sione Fainu, who is named to make his NRL debut. So credit to you there, Sione. For the Dolphins, massive change. The Hammer's back. Trey Fuller. People are asking, where does he fit into this team with the Hammer coming back? The answer is he doesn't. He's relegated to the 18th man spots. So he doesn't look like he will feature. And Kenny Bromwich returns to the side at lock after playing Queensland Cup last week with Connolly Lemueli dropping to the bench. I don't think there's much to talk about with the Tigers. Actually, just they feel like they're back to last year's form, and the injuries and that have just absolutely smashed them.
yeah.
I think it's all about the Dolphins and the basically the big one, just Trey Fuller. I was always hesitant with this because I thought New Hammer was coming back. What price has he actually got to so far? Is it
He's
only
made
like
some good money.
400, 450 or something?
429. He's made
Yeah.
225k. So it's nice. Like it is nice to be fair. If you had him for 2 weeks, you made 200 and something k out of him. Had a shit game, had a good game,
Where
and
are you going to though now?
well,
That's my question.
probably the same position most are. Fucking anyone that's left. Honestly, in this position,
But like with
if
that
I had
price
if I had
range,
Trey Fuller in my side at my fullback spot with his price range, you got to think, all right, I've probably lost Cleary, I've probably lost Hines, I've definitely lost Tuivasa-Sheck, and I'm not even speaking broadly about my side. I'm speaking broad with a percentage overall. How many people have him? You've had enough outs this week that you're gonna have to make two swaps, maybe even boost. Fuller, you get 200k out of him that you didn't have prior. So for this week, it's a great week for him to be out because it gives you the money to spend up. Like if I had Cleary out and Fuller, I'd be going, sweet. Cleary down to who have we got? Cleary down to maybe say Sam Walker at 680. That frees you up 100, almost 200k. No, what is it? 180 odd. And then you can probably try and push way up if you've got money in the bank. Maybe you can get someone like Walsh, or because I don't think he's too dear at the moment. There's options. There's plenty of options, and if you have to boost, you can get Falogo in your side for less. You're going down in price from Fuller down that way. So there's definitely
I'd
ways
probably do
around it.
that trade.
Yeah, I probably would too. I'd probably bank some more, and just try and work around it. But yeah, it was always going to happen. And I was very wishful for a lot of people saying, "Oh, maybe Hammer goes to the centers and We get Fuller all the way through until the end of after Origin. But I'm like, I don't think he was ever even in the siding. Like he wasn't even in the top 30 to be included in that. So it was a bit of an oversight. But you take your money where you've made it and you move it on. So not the worst thing in the world.
Do you
Um,
keep Fuller knowing that he plays when Hammers are away on Origin duty? Like the round 13, they'll have the Raiders, but they do have the bye straight after that. But
does he come back in the
is it
side?
worthy? I think he would if Hammers at Origin. He's the next best fullback at the club, so he'd have to. Who else would go to fullback?
Oh, well, like as far as the fullback side of things go, they've already used him there. So you'd have to think he would
Yeah.
be the fullback for it. But is he eligible for it now that everyone's back fit?
I think it is. I think it was I think that was round 10 that ended or something
Round
like that.
oh, it was oh yeah, that's right. It's round 11, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That they have that rule gone. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't be holding him in the fullback
Yeah.
spot. It's too valuable a position. I think even still, his break even's 21. Like he's been very impressive. He'll score the big points. But is it worth sitting out a fullback just waiting for a week to come to get the Dolphins? Like the buy coverage is good, but you can make up those points elsewhere. I probably wouldn't hold
Not
on to
worth it.
him. I'd trade him, but it's not a major rush at the moment with the other stuff to put out. So um, just with the Tigers real quick, they have been decimated too, mainly in the forwards really. All the other sides seem to lose all their backs and centers, but these guys are losing their forwards. So they lost both second rowers, both their star players too. I think Papali'i got done for that trip, which he wasn't penalised for
Yeah, that
during
was
the game. So yeah, there's one that
uh,
slipped through. There's one for Wednesday. Um,
goodness me.
yeah, so
Honestly, it's magic round. Everyone's in good spirits, but I feel like there's a handful of teams that are going to be up there just like, "Ah, get me out of here. I just
yeah,
wanna go home."
it's
Like,
not a
there's
good
just
start.
nothing magic about this week.
No, not at all. Just the sponge
Yeah.
after the injuries. So um, I don't really know where to go with them. To be fair, you're gonna have to do something pretty solid to beat the Finns. They look real good. They're a very strong side. They just seem to pretty much be getting stronger now with Hammer back
Mm.
and Kenny Bromwich back in the side too. Obviously, Max Plath is a big out. He got copped, big old knee to the head. So don't know how long we'll see him gone for. Maybe broken nose, but um, yeah, be a nice little end to Magic Round that one. See the Finns get up.
And I remember last year's Magic Round, the whole crowd was behind the Dolphins, so,
Yeah,
not the best game for the Tigers. They're gonna be depleted. The Dolphins are gonna be riding off the emotion of the feeling of the crowd, so who knows? This could be a one where the West Tigers are making the list. Who knows? But anyway, that's pretty much it for the team list. And we actually got hit between under the hour. I'm actually shocked with that, with the amount of crap that was needed to be discussed and that's happened to teams. I'm shocked we've actually done this, guys, and achieved our goal. I promised you we would get to this as a duo, and we've actually done it. So
three
thank you
minutes
very
early.
much. Yes, make sure you're watching tonight, Wednesday, 8:30, Facebook or YouTube. Get around it. I'll do a couple of giveaways to Subby Group once again. If you haven't already, make sure you do join that Subby Group. Only $2.99 per month. You get all this exclusive content as well as Super Coach content as well. Talk directly to Jesse. He'll help you out with some trades each and every week as well. But thank you, guys. Hope you have enjoyed the episode. Make sure you comment, like, hit subscribe, all that jazz. And we will see you tonight.